可以开始了啊，能听见吗？A very good day to everybody. Welcome to our webinar. Today we are going to share some basic knowledge on shrimp farming in China and also in Middle East. So this is Benjamin from Shandong Lachance. It's my pleasure to be here to share some knowledge to all the world, to everybody from all over the world. So later, Dr. Shokri from Iraq, he will share the knowledge on the shrimp farming in Middle East. So let's start our presentation. Okay, my talking about will be covered the following 3 points. So the first is the overview of vannamei culture in China. The second, main diseases and solutions. And the last is share some case study from the world. Okay, as we all know, China still the biggest producer in the world. I mean the vannamei production. Last year we have 1.4 million tons. So the total production for the world is around 5 million tons. So China produces almost 30% of world production. I think, if I'm not wrong, the Vietnam produces 0.97 million tons. The following, the third place will be Ecuador, which is 0.94 million tons. I think Indian around 0.8 million tons. This is top 4 countries. And of course, China also the biggest importer in the world. Every year we import more than 1 million tons of vannamei from Ecuador, from Vietnam, also from India. And I'm going to introduce the main farming method in China. I mean for the vannamei. This is the first is extensive farming. From the photo, we can see no any aeration. The density is very, very low. Okay, less than 20 PL per square meter, equal to 0.2 million PL per hectare. Okay, of course the production also very low. The no aeration, no any control. Okay, for the weather, open to the weather of the water, no treatment. Okay, the pond is very big, from a few hectares to up to a few thousand hectares. Okay, from here we can see it's very big. This pond is about 5 hectares. And the second is a semi-intensive farming in China. You can see that the pond is nice. So they use the concrete, but the bottom is still the mud pond. Okay, they install some aeration, and the density is less than 100. But some areas south of China, we use this kind of pond. The density is up to 200, and we call that is intensive farming. With more aeration, and the production is around 5 to 15 tons per hectare. This is really depends on the PL, depends on the water quality, also depends on the weather. The size is about 0.5 to 1 hectare, and not closed, it's open. And this is a shrimp. But the shrimp, if the weather is good, the water is good, the shrimp is very, very beautiful. And for the intensive farming, the right photo is inside of the farm. Okay, so from here we can see most of the pond is concrete tank. In north of China we use a concrete tank, but in south of China we use a mud pond. Some mud pond also cover with the greenhouse. We also install the strong aeration Okay, why we in the north of China we use this kind of facility because the weather. During the winter, the temperature is -5 to -10. Okay, we have to keep the temperature during the nighttime. Okay, we use the electric to heat the water up to 22 to 25. So we have to use the whole facility to keep the water warm. Okay, so and also they have the water reservoir. Okay, the left side is a water reservoir. We pump the seawater into the reservoir, or we also pump some underground water. But this water is marine water. The salinity is around 27 to 30. This is near to the sea. And also once we pump the water, we use some chlorine, use some chemicals to sterilize the water. Of course, you can see the water pedal to aerate the water. And density is around 150 to 300. Okay, and the production is almost double to semi-intensive, which is 15 to 40 tons per hectare. But usually the facility is around 1,000 to 2,000. Okay, that means every facility they can produce about the 1.45 to 4 tons stream. Okay, so let's move to the super intensive. For the super intensive, also the fully covered from north to south. All the facility is fully covered. Okay, no any outside water can go in the facility. With strong super intensive, we use super intensive aeration. From here we can see how the bottom of the pond is. We put it at the air tube, which is the black one. Okay, the density is amazing. Incredible. Some can up to 1,000 PL per square meters. Of course, the production is around 200 tons per hectare. Of course, the size of the pond also very small. It's less than 50 square meters. Okay, for the waters, we use such kind of filter. We pump the water from the sea, from underground. We pump in the filter. This is a mechanical filter. Okay. Then after treatment, we pump in the reservoir. Also for the super intensive farming, we also prepare the water reservoir. Okay, sterilize thoroughly, then pump in our pond. Okay, this is the farming method. If you have any question, if you want to understand more, because this is very complicated. Okay, if the higher the density, the higher the risk, definitely. And when you do the management, when you're using the animal health product, water change, the feeding must be carefully. And there is a SOP. Okay, from the farm to farm, they have SOP to operate this kind of super intensive shrimp farming. Okay, the following part is about the main diseases. I think in past 10 years, especially in the Asia, from India, from China to Thailand, also Vietnam and Indonesia, the main producer in Asia, they are facing a lot of diseases. So today I'm just going to highlight 3 main diseases. Okay, the first is Vibrio. I think this is all over the world facing the same problem, Vibrio. Even for avocado, the successful rate is the highest in the world, but still have such kind of Vibrio problem. Okay, from the literature, there is 14 kinds of Vibrio which can infect the shrimp, but the top 3 is First is a parahemolyticus. This is very, very toxic. In the industry, we call when we culture in the agar, when we see the green dot, we thought, we assume this is a parahemolyticus VP. Okay, but sometimes even we get the green dot, actually it's not VP. Maybe the other kind of probiotics, and following the Hawaii and Alginalyticus. Okay, the rest even they are in the pond, but sometimes not infect our shrimp. Okay, from the red corner, the photo, we can see this is the shrimp infected by Vibrios. Okay, once infected by Vibrios, what syndrome? Okay, we can see the red tail. From this photo, we can see the red tail, the whole body is red, and even the foot, and also the antenna broken. And finally, if you are not controlled immediately, let's say if the shrimp infected by Vibrio, you'd better immediately treat. Okay, with the chemicals, changing the waters, and maybe you use some essential oil to kill the Vibrio. Of course, sometimes you can use some bellfish in China. Now we use bellfish. We also use some probiotics to control Vibrios. If not controlled properly, okay, the late part will be cause mortality. When you see the shrimp like this, the empty guard, the hepatopancreas decolor shrimp, definitely this will die. Okay, and if infected by Vibrio, what will happen to the shrimp? Okay, finally, we'll get the white faces diseases. Okay, I think this year in Indonesia is very common. Of course, in north of China, now we also facing the same problem, white faces problem. But later I will introduce more. What will cause the white faces? But not only Vibrio. They have a few factors which can cause white faces diseases. Let's move on. Okay, once we get the second is the white faces diseases. You can see once the shrimp get white faces diseases, the right photo we can see the red shrimp. We can see the intestine filled with the white material. Actually, this is not faces, is the absolute cells from the intestine, also from the hepatopancreas. Okay, once they get this kind of problem, then stop feeding. And you also can see the faces is very sticky and floating on the water. And you'd better check if once your shrimp infected by Vibrio, you'd better check the water regularly, see whether get the wet faces or not. If get wet faces, definitely will cause mortality. The only difference is 5% mortality or 10% or 20%. Okay, if the late part of wet faces diseases, maybe the mortality will be up to 50%. Okay, this is a healthy shrimp. So for the Vibrio reproduction, how come they can suddenly the density of Vibrio suddenly increase? Okay, actually they have plenty of factors. Okay, the first is poor water quality. If the ammonia, if nitrate is too bad, okay, the low oxygen is less than 2 ppm milligram per liter. Okay, the higher the density, okay, the shrimp will stress. Okay, And also the temperature, now at this season in China, the weather temperature is about around 40 degrees Celsius. In the water, it's around 30 degrees. Okay, but during the night time, the temperature decreased to 26 or 25. The fact different will stress your shrimp. Okay, maybe tomorrow morning the feed intake will decrease. Okay, you're the better monitoring the shrimp feeding behavior. If increase, then you reduce the feeding amount. If otherwise, if you keep feed the same amount, definitely will cause the shrimp will cause a problem. Okay, after they feed the molting feed in the water, they will damage the intestine. They will cause the mycotoxin, the fungus will damage the hepatopancreas. So after 2 to 3 days, you will see the shrimp got some problem, abnormal. So it's better keep the feeding rate during the extreme weather condition. Of course, sometimes the algae bloom. One of our customers from Mexico, they are facing the algae bloom now. So plenty of toxin algae in the water. Once they crash, okay, they will release toxin to the pond. They will damage the shrimp. Okay, during the nighttime, they will consume some oxygen in the water. Also, will cause some problem. When you go to once the algae bloom during the night time, when you go to test the dissolved oxygen in the water, sometimes it's less than 2 milligrams per liter. Okay, but the following days, the DO will increase when the sun rise. So the light comes, so the algae will produce oxygen. But nobody knows. The shrimp got stressed already. Maybe the following days or following 2 days will get some problem. Also, the Vibrio will increase suddenly. Finally, will cause the mortality. And how to prevention the Vibrio in the water, and some solutions. First, you better sterilize the water, the pond thoroughly before stocking PL. Okay, especially for the bottom of the mud pond. It's sterilized. You use some, the limestone. You can use some chlorine to sterilize thoroughly. Otherwise, during the culture time, if the environment become bad, they will release the Vibrio into the water. Actually, on the bottom, the sludge on the bottom contains more than 10,000 times of Vibrio or harmful bacteria compared to the water. Okay, once the weather become bad, they will release in the water, then will reproduce, suddenly increase the density in the water, and finally will infect your shrimp. Okay, and also during the culture, we use a lot of probiotics for the semi-intensive, intensive, for the super intensive. Almost every day, we add probiotics in the water. Almost every day, we add animal health product. We also add, the product to protect hepatopancreas. Because can you imagine every square meter you can get 10 kilo shrimp? Okay, can you imagine how dense in the water? And we did that, in the market, you can buy the probiotics, like the mixture of bacillus, EM, and lactobacillus is very common. But also you need a monitor detection the Vibrio in the water. If you found the Vibrio in the water is above 10 power 3, you have to take some action to decrease or control or kill the vibrio in the water. Okay, also you can use some herb extract because we have a lot of herb in China. So we do use the herb to kill vibrio in the water. And another is headache. Another disease is very headache, which is EHP. You know, this is very common in Asia. From last October to December, in India, you know, the Thailand, Indonesia, China, you know, the heavy rain almost lasted almost 2 months. Okay, the pond condition is very bad. Then the EHP break out, cause a lot of the farmers lost a lot of money. Even the success rate is less than 20%. Okay, what is EHP? I call this is a shrimp cancer because the spot is very, very tiny, from 1.1 to 0.7 micrometer, which is live in the cells. Okay, similar to the virus, not out of the cell, like the bacteria maybe live out of cells, but this EHP live in the cells we call intracellular. Okay, once infect, no any chemicals, no any product can kill the spots in the cells so far. Okay, this is a left circle. We can see the left circle. You know, once the spots contaminate the healthy cell, they will produce a lot in the cell. Once the number big enough, okay, the cell will die. Then they will release more mature spots. This kind of spots will infect the other healthy cells in the hepatopancreas, especially in the hepatopancreas. Okay, once this shrimp dies, they will, you know, they will contaminate the other shrimp. You know, the shrimp is a cannibalism. Okay, the healthy shrimp, if the healthy shrimp eat the dead shrimp or cannibalism, the weak shrimp, most probably will infect by EHP. Another is from the feces. Also, you know, if the other, like the larva from dragonfly larva also carry this kind of spots in the body. Then finally will infect the shrimp. Okay, recently our, you know, in China we have chief researchers who is doing this kind of project. Okay, he found the dragonfly larva carry the EHP spot. So once the dragonfly larva enter into the pond, will release some of spores, will infect the healthy shrimp in the pond. Okay, so that's why in China now, for the super intensive or intensive farming, we fully covered. No any, you know, the larvae can enter into the pond. Okay, this is very important. So if your country has the dragonfly, pay more attention about this one. Okay, from this photo, we can see the left one is infected by EHP. We can see that the dot, this tiny dot is spot, EHP spot. Okay, once the number is big enough, then the shrimp will die. Okay, from the right side is healthy. We can see no any. The hepatopancreas, you know, as we know, in the hepatopancreas, there are 4 kinds of cells. So the cells is very, very very good. So another is for the syndrome. Once infected by the EHP, the first you will see the growth retardation. Some shrimp 50 days or 60 days, only 3 to 4 grams. Okay, which should be around 10 gram or 12 gram. This is a normal growth rate. Also depends on your situation, your feed, your protein content in your feed. Okay, but if less than 5 grams, that is too slow. Even your shrimp keep feeding, he may be infected by EHP. Another is very obviously is the size of the same batch of the PL or the shrimp. They have the size is very a lot. You know, some is 1 gram, some is 3 grams. The biggest one is more than 10 grams. Okay, maybe infected by EHP. I strongly advise you send to your lab. Okay, to testing whether infected by EHP or not. In the late part, if you're not control, if you're not take some action, the heavy mortality will cause. Okay, if you found your EHP in China, we do this way. If the pond infected by EHP, if the shrimp maybe 80% still growing, as we know, not 100% infected by EHP. If 80% still growing, okay, they calculate, okay, after 1 month or 2 months, I still can get some production, I still can make some money. Okay, if the shrimp is very tiny, they will discharge, get the new batch, thoroughly sterilize the pond, the facility, then they get new batch. Okay, in your country, you also can balance this. If it's worth to group, okay, you keep. But anyway, remember, even you keep, your FCR will go up. In China, for the super intensive farming and intensive farming, the FCR is around 1.01 to 1.1. It's perfect, it's very low. But our growth protein is very high, you know, from 38 to 42. But in Indonesia, they only need 30, 32 to 35. In India, the similar. In Ecuador, even less than 32. Okay. And if you have any questions, you want to know more about the EHP, you can leave the message. You also can go online search. Before, I think I have one video, special for EHP. And the third one is white faces diseases. Okay, so far we found 4 reasons can cause white faces diseases. So the first I just mentioned, Vibrio. Okay, either parahemolyticus or Hawaii. The second is EHP. Okay, you know there is a plenty. If there is a plenty of spots in the hepatopancreas of the shrimp, definitely they will damage the epithelial cells. Then they will discharge the white material. Okay, which is the white feces. The third one is a weather change. You know, the weather change. When in our pond, there is you know, between there is a balance between the probiotic and phytoplankton. Okay, there is a balance. If too much probiotic in the water, your pH will go down. Okay, maybe sometime less than 7. Even I saw the lowest pH is about 6. But if too much algae in the water, okay, your pH will go up. In the sunny day and about 3 to 4 p.m., the pH can up to 9.5. So normally there is 8, 7.5 to 8.5. If above 9, definitely will stress your shrimp. Okay, finally, will affect the feed intake. Will get some infection by pathogens or parasite. So remember, check the pH regularly. If too much algae, I think you can use some chlorine to kill, or you change some water. Okay, remember. And at the meantime, you'd better add replenish some probiotics into your pond. Okay. Another, if algae crash, last week I did visit some farmers in Shandong province. So the color of the water is very, very dense. It's less than 5 cm. Okay, finally the shrimp got some problem. And if this happen, you'd better use some chlorine to kill. Then you change the water. Then you add some animal health product to anti-stress. In China, as we use some vitamin C. This is a short time. We also use some Chinese herb to anti-stress. Okay, and also if algae crash, they will release toxins. They will damage your shrimp. Then you'd better use some organic acid to detoxin. And also recently, we found in Indonesia, we found the low quality of feed. This year, the raw material keep increasing. For example, for the soybean meal, the price is almost double. Okay, some feed mill factories, they try to replace the soybean meal with the cottonseed meal. This kind of feed will damage, your shrimp, because the shrimp cannot digest some nutrients in the cottonseed. Okay, which is anti-nutrient factors in the raw material. So once, because this kind of raw material contains two kinds of saturated fatty acid. So I think in the late part of this year, there is a paper will release soon. ICI papers will release based on our Chinese expert. He is conducting this project. He found two kinds of fatty acids can cause the white faces. The first cause the intestine inflammation, then finally cause the white faces for the shrimp. Okay, this is for sure. There's 4 reasons. If the white faces, the caused by the feed, either you change the feed or you add some animal health product, which is a bile acid. So also you can add some Chinese herb. They will reduce the inflammation. Okay, so finally we'll control the white faces. So you can see this shrimp. I think this shrimp from India, our customer. You see, this is the white faces, very sticky. But this luckily the shrimp is big enough. So finally he harvests immediately. The mortality is very low. And like the algae crash just now, I have shared. I'm not going to repeat again. And for the solutions, these 4 reasons, like the Vibrio, EHP, or the water, and also the feed, I just now explained already. And the last part, I will share some our product, which is for RUNEON II. This is from Latin American, Brazil, Latin American, and also Asia, from India. Every country you can see our product, which is RUNEON II, special for aquaculture. After using this product, you can see the hepatopancreas is very clear, and the membrane. Later I will share some. So let me introduce a bit on our product. The main composition is 75% bile acid. The function of our product, the first is protect the hepatopancreas of the shrimp and promote the digestion and absorption of lipid from the emulsifier and promote the activity of lipids. Finally, they will, promote absorption of the lipid by 5 to 10%. So we have a lot of posters online. You can search. Okay. Finally, they will increase the production by 5 to 10%. We have the data later. I will share to you. Okay. This is the case study from Indian. They use a mud pond. This kind of mud pond, the density is less than 20. Okay. They get very good result this year. And the production is increased almost from 2 tons to 3 tons. Okay, of course, they have the other factors. I'm not to say only our product can increase 30% or 40%, but definitely we will increase 5 to 10%. And this is from avocado. The last year, even this year, avocado facing the temperature problem. Avocado is a tropic country, but the water in the sea, the temperature is around 22. Okay, but in the pond, it's above 27. Every year they face the same problem. Last year, they use our product, and for the control, they don't use. Finally, they found our product works well. Okay, from the survival rate, from the production, all increase. And also you can see the shrimp is very healthy, very beautiful. And this is also from avocado. This is from Indonesia, sorry. Recently we get this result. You see, after 95 days, the size of the shrimp, the average is around 38 gram average weight. So from the corner, you can see it's very beautiful. And this is the PL, the clear, the transparent of the body, the clear hepatopancreas. Okay, Indonesia, for the Indonesia, this kind of mud pond is similar with, it's same as with the pond from Thailand, from Vietnam. Just even the laminate with HTP membrane, they use a water paddle. In the Thailand, they use more paddles. And this is from Vietnam. So we collect this case from only last month. Okay, you see the intestine is very strong. The color of the body is very transparent, very healthy. Of course, the growth rate also increased at this stage. I think this is all my sharing. If you have any questions, you can add my WeChat, or you can leave the message to our internet. Okay, so following, I will invite Dr. Shokri to give the presentation. Thank you. Dr. Shokri is the expert in Iraq. Later, he will introduce himself.
I am Shukri Umar Mustafa, the nutritionist and the president of Fish Resources Association in Iraqi Kurdistan. PhD candidate in Turkey since 2019. Inshallah, next year I will graduate my PhD. I got a master's degree from the University of Business in Australia in 2012. The topic is shrimp farming and the disease in the Middle East. I'm going to talk about the general shrimp farming and shrimp farming in the Middle East, and shrimp diseases and LachanceGroup company. Let's move to the first point, which is the general shrimp farming. Major shrimp producer in the world is Asia Pacific. China is the number one, Taiwan, Indonesia, Thailand, India, and Philippines. In the Latin America, Ecuador and Mexico, global shrimp market from 2018 to 2028 by USD billion throughout 10 years, it reached $150.2 billion. Major shrimp consumers, Japan, United States of America, and Europe. Consideration for planning shrimp farm projects at this point. Capitalization, water supply sources, soil suitability, availability of brown fry, prevailing prices, domestic and international. Generally, profitability would be determined by harvest, weight, and level of production. The feasibility is very important also, you can consider, because as without good feasibility, you cannot start with the project. Level of production extends, therefore, system of farming, extensive farming system, modified extensive farming system, semi-intensive farming system, intensive farming system. Assumptions, semi-intensive cooking rate 10 pieces per square meter with 2,500 kilo per hectare. Intensive culture, 30 pieces per square with production 6,500 kg per hectare, which is about 3 times. Economic analysis of various brown farming systems. There are 8 points. Brown markets, the size and growth of local and foreign market influence the profitability of brown farming. Growing markets for brown provide a good incentive in the form increases demand for their products. Next point, the saturation of brown markets is determined to extension because the market is already at its peak. When this happens, expansion in the demand is possible, but under lower price and higher consumer income. Also, domestic and foreign prices. The price trend of brown in the local and foreign markets is a leading indicator of the future of the industry. Also, local and foreign production competition is very stiff when the technology of brown production becomes standardized across the national boundaries. You can decrease the cost of production in this point. Marketing and processing, the quality of the brown produce and the method of marketing greatly influence the price sourcing for the products. Export and import duties on crowns and foreign exchange rates is very important. Input markets, availability of suitable land and water for brown culture, availability of fry, feed, power, fertilizer, and chemicals. Also, availability of technical manpower is very important, infrastructure and equipment, availability of credit. Last point, risk and uncertainties. The risk of brown farming increases as the producers also increase the level of farming methods and larger farm sizes. Risk factors include occurrence of diseases and legal. Operative economic evaluation. Effective farm size. The selected farm size is 7 hectares for all culture methods in order to facilitate comparison productivity, cost structure, profitability, and stability. Culture period, both extensive and modified extensive are cropping twice a year, while semi-intensive and intensive system are cropped 3 times a year. Average yields, extensive 350 kg per hectare, modified extensive 850 kg per hectare, semi-intensive 2,500 kg per hectare, intensive 6,500 kg per hectare. Stocking rate 10,000 PC for extensive, 30,000 PC crop for modified extensive, 100,000 PC per hectare crop for semi-extensive, and 300,000 PC per hectare crop for intensive. Shrimp farming in the Middle East. Major shrimp producer in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia farm pioneered Middle East shrimp aquaculture after commercial operation began in 1997. Annual production reached to 1,600 metric tons. Shrimp farm operating by Saudi Arabia National Aquaculture Group, NEQA, is the first in the Middle East and North Africa, MENA region to receive aquaculture stewardship and council ISC shrimp certification. According to NEQA, this certification means that Saudi Arabia is now part of top 15 countries worldwide with ISC shrimp certification. As you can see in this big, Saudi Arabia has a huge shrimp farm. This is two regions in Jizan in the south and in the Al-Lith in the north. Both regions have an excellent water quality and have an optimal environment for shrimp farming in Saudi Arabia, as we can see here. As you can see here. Harvest and processing, as we can see here. Species produced. This species currently cultured in Saudi Arabia is the Indian white shrimp, which is completely demonstrated. Broodstock animals are reared separately and an ongoing selection process is aimed at the genetic improvement of stock. Black tiger shrimp were also produced, but discontinued due to the scarcity of wild broodstock. Harvest and processing. On attaining the targeted harvest size, shrimp are harvested with nets. After lowering the water level, harvesting shrimp are transferred immediately to the processing plant to be washed in drinking quality water, then quickly chill cut and packed on the ice for further transport to the processing plant. Yields average 7,500 kilograms per hectare per crop, and annual production is 1,600 metric tons. Marketed in domestic as well as international market. The product features premium prices. Conclusion: Saudi Fisheries Company is proud to be pioneering coastal aquaculture, a relatively new agribusiness in the Middle East. Its success was one of the most modern shrimp farms in the world, has inspired other investors in Saudi Arabia and other countries in the region, where other farms have been built and still more are planned. Major shrimp producer in the Middle East, Oman, the National Shrimp Company, one of the key aquaculture projects commissioned by Fisheries Development Oman, has begun its first commercial harvest at its site in Jalal Bani Bu Hassan, South Sharqiya Governorate. Shrimp farm in the UAE also has a huge shrimp farm. The fisheries and aquaculture market in the Middle East, as you can see, Saudi Arabia 3%, UAE, Iraq 2%, if you Yemen 6%, Oman 5%. If you look at the MENA region, Egypt 40%, Turkey 19, and Iran 21. Shrimp company in the Middle East, Nuclear company in Saudi Arabia, the deep seafood company in the UAE, Emirate. Shrimp diseases. WSSP outbreak in 2011. During the winter of 2010 and 2011 to 2012 and 2013 to 2014, the Saudi Arabia shrimp farms faced a white spot syndrome virus WSSV outbreak that causes high mortality in throughout prawns, significantly affecting the overall shrimp production. The combination of three factors, including low water temperature, a susceptible shrimp species, and the presence of the virus in the wild population caused the WSSV outbreak. Shrimp diseases, shrimp bacteria diseases covered fibrosis, necrotizing, hepatopancreas, epicomensal falling disease. Shrimp fibrosis, known in Latin America as a sea gold syndrome. Numerous etiological agents, wide variety of gram-negative motile rods, most frequently found in hatcheries, but a big problem for young infants. All shrimp, rare, and the stressful condition are susceptible. Shrimp fibrosis commonly affected organs, cortical, hepatopancreas, hyphoid organ, adrenal gland, heart, and hemolymph striated muscle. Shrimp fibrosis, hepatopancreas, most of farms in Central America evaluate shrimp on a weekly basis for fibrosis. If you internal science evaluation using weight, squish, and evaluate balance tubed. Write HP on the scale of 0 to 3 or 3 being worse. Medicated feed at 4 gram per kilo oxytocin you can use for this disease. Necrotizing hepatopancreas, also known as a NHP or Texas Pound Mortality Syndrome for obvious reasons. This is a disease of the midgut gland, not as with a vibrance of the blood. Bacterium prefers high salinity, get 10 ppt. Both from Peru to Texas. Control strategy frequent examination used for oxytocin at 4 gram per kilo, 4,000 ppt, advance of high salinity condition. Zoya syndrome, species affected P. vannamei and P. styloristis, although mentally deformed. 36 to 48 hours after achieving Z1, first signs appear anorexia, evacuation of guts. Death due to the starvation is Z1 to Z2 most. Mortality stops at Z3. Survival continue normal larvae development. In 1997, agent determined to be intracellular bacteria formed by TEM in HP. As of yet, no treatment. Let's move to the last point, which is LachanceGroup company products. RUNEON or new-type feed additive. Main component 75% bile acids. Function protect hepatopancreas, promote the digestion of fat and fat-soluble vitamins, promote growth of aquatic animals, improve HCR, which is very important for economy, for feasibility by 5 to 10%. Lastly, improve fat utilization. This is case sorry, this is case in Saudi Arabia. This control group, we have done the experiment. This is using by additive, our new products, additive that contain 75% of bile acids. Our witness, customer price is our best witness. Thank you for your attention.
So thanks, Dr. Shokri, to sharing this knowledge, this presentation. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, let me check whether okay. Have you used mineral to improve the quality of the? Yes, I think one question from server. So I think this is a good question. Of course, in China, we also use some the minerals to improve, especially for the calcium, to improve the quality of the shrimp. But remember, if the concentration of the minerals is less than the reasonable range, or so you can add some minerals. If within the range, maybe no need add any minerals. This is really depends on. Okay, any questions? Okay, most welcome. So if no question, I think this is our this is a webinar for today. Hopefully, it's helpful for your farming in future. If you have any questions, any interest on understand our culture method in China, I think frankly to say, so we are the most developed culture method in the world. Okay, especially for the shrimp farming. So you just leave the message or contact me directly. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. See you next time.